Assalamu alaikum. I'm Tanya Prince Sumaya. ID is 19115121229. Today I'm going to share my knowledge about dynamic programming of longest common subsequence. What is longest common subsequence? A set of sequences that given a loss that a given the longest common subsequence problem is to find a common sequence of the sequences that is the maximal length. What is subsequence? A subsequence is a sequence that appears in the same relative order but not necessarily contiguous. It takes time to check if a sequence is common to both the strings. This time complexity can be improved using dynamic programming. This is the pseudocode of LCS. Now I am explain it using example. Here I take two strings x and y. X is equal black, y is equal bag. I create a table of dimension n plus 1 by n plus 1. Here n and m are the length of x and y strings. The first row and first column are filled with zeros. First, I will match all the characters of this string one by one with B. Now, there will be consideration between these four cells. The current row B and the current row and the current column B are matching. Then I fill the current cell by adding 1 to the diagonal element. 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. Then I assign here 1 and point an arrow to this diagonal cell. Here B and L are not same. Then I take the maximum value from previous row and previous column. Here previous row's value is greater than previous column's value. For that I assign here 1 and point an arrow to this cell. B and A are not same. For that I assign here 1 because its previous row's value is greater than previous column. Same process I assign here 1 and 1 because B and C are not same, B and K are not same. Here I match with A and all the characters of this string. A and B are not same. For that I assign here the maximum value from previous row and previous column. Here previous column's value is maximum. For that I assign here 1 and point an arrow to this cell. A and L are not same. For that I assign here a value. I assign here a maximum value from previous column and previous cell. Here the previous column's value and previous column's value and previous row's value are same. For that I assign here the previous row's value and I point an arrow to this cell. A and A are matching. So I assign here a value by adding 1 to its diagonal element. The diagonal element is 1 and 1 plus 1 is 2. For that I assign here 2 and point an arrow to this diagonal cell. A and C are not same. For that I assign here a value comparing a value from previous column and previous row. Here the previous row's value is greater than previous column's value. For that I assign here 2 and point an arrow to this cell. From same for say using same process I assign here 2. With C I will match all the characters of this string. The C and B are not same. For that I assigned here a value from previous column and previous value in previous row. Here previous column's value is maximum. For that I assign here 1 and point an arrow to this cell. C and L are not same. And to fill this column I take previous columns value and previous rows value. Here previous rows value and previous columns value are same. For that I assign here 1 and point an arrow to its previous rows cell. C and A are not same. And this cell's previous column value is greater than previous rows value. For that I assign here 2 and print and point an arrow to this cell. C and C are same. For that I assign here a value adding 1 with its diagonal self element. 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. For that I assign here 3 and point an arrow to this diagonal cell. C and K are not same, and this cell's previous, and I assigned value this cell from previous column and previous value. Here previous rows value is greater than previous columns value. For that I assign here 3 and point an arrow to its previous rows cell. K and B are not same. For that I assign here a value from previous column and previous row. Its previous column's value is maximum. For that I assign here 1 and point an arrow to this cell. K and L are not same. For that I assign here a value from previous column and previous row. The previous column's value and previous rows value are same. For that I assign here previous rows value and point an arrow to this cell. K and A are not same. Then I assign here the maximum value from previous column and previous row. The previous column's value is larger than previous row's value. For that I assign here 2 and point an arrow to this cell. K and C are not same. For that I assign here from previous column and previous rows. Its previous column's value is greater than previous rows value. For that I assign here 3 and paint an arrow to this cell. K and K are same. For that adding 1 with its diagonal self value, and I assign here this value. So 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. I assign here 4 and point an arrow to this diagonal cell. Mm, Here we can say LCS is B A C K and its length is 4. Thank you.